Hello, good morning, and welcome to the monthly What's New in AWS live stream presented by AWS Enterprise Support. I hope everyone's had an amazing week. My name's Matthew Platts. Tom and Simon, are you guys around? I think you're just behind. Can you come and join me?
Hello, everyone. My name's Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Good to see you. Hi.
Hey,
Hey
Simon.
Matt, hey Tom, good to see
Hey,
y'all.
Hey.
you
Good to see you.
too, you too. Happy Prime Big Deal Day. Did you guys get a
Oh,
chance to snag any bargains?
I got a Echo, and that's kind of it.
Echo.
I'm still have boxes from Prime Day last time, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
I gotta
Sounds like
curb
a
my
big shopper.
yeah, I gotta curb my shopping a lot.
I'm officially banned as well, so I think I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Who dare to ban you?
Oh
Okay.
no, someone much smarter than me has done it. I promise you.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
um, we all just got off school holidays, I think, didn't we? Tom, how was
Mm.
your school holidays? Did you guys go
My
anywhere as a
my
family?
little one's yeah, my little one just 4 years old or so. So he doesn't really technically he doesn't really have school holidays. So
Not
but
yet.
overall they were in with mom in China before, and I have to come back. Came back recently to be with
Oh,
them. Yeah.
perfect.
How did yeah how did Simon's?
Well, I went to Lake Entrance. It was 35 degrees. It was perfect. So I took a
Wow.
lot of pictures of koalas, dolphins, and it was great. And then I came back to Melbourne. It's raining and it's 11 degrees now. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're more than
Diversity,
welcome,
huh?
Simon, to come and join us in the Gold Coast. I think it's about 28 degrees today.
Oh,
It's perfect.
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been thinking about it, but unfortunately, my customers are not here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
Simon, you
the,
know
But
what?
I can. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
You know what? Like I was from China. I always have some sort of funny stories about the debate between Melbourneian and Sydney siders. And I see that you just show the true feeling from the Melbourneian regarding on the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I was
Okay.
actually bloating to my Sydney side of friend. They were 35 degrees, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and we were sunny and
Mm,
25 degrees, which is perfect. And then 2 days later, at night, it was 4 degrees, and it was pouring with rain, and they're still at 30 degrees and enjoying the beach. So
okay.
I can't win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No
will just
problem.
say, while the Sydney siders and the Melbournians are debating who's got the best city, I'm just going to say
Okay.
Gold Coast is pretty good. It's got one of the best cities in the world,
Uh,
one of the best beaches in the world.
Uh,
So yeah,
okay.
can't help but slip that one in.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We have,
Yeah.
gents, we have an
Yeah.
action-packed show today. I'm really looking forward. Tom, you're going to do some AI ML and Bedrock, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Really,
Yeah.
really
Like
excited
a
about that. Simon, we're going to catch up about security, some pretty interesting releases in the security
Absolutely.
world. And Rahul and I are going to jump in and talk about compute and database. So we've got a lot to talk about. Before we jump in, though, Tom, I think I've got some notes here that you're hosting an event on the 26th of November, an in-person event. What's
no.
happening?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I want to call out that it's an event. It's a in-person AWS public event on Thursday this month. It's on 26th October. Okay.
October.
Uh,
Got it.
yeah. So 26th October, I hold the event. So the event thing basically is the name is so-called Golden Pathway for Cloud Builders. We have our principal engineers, Matt Coase, to talk about the ideas, how to use the services, and some thought process to accelerate your product development. And other than that, we also have speaker from outside of AWS to talk about product development. She's super experienced and always like a usual show for the women's in tech, and she will focus talking about the product development also on cloud. Yeah, yeah. So look forward to seeing you in these in-person events. And this is the link. I would like to invite you to register the events and look forward to seeing you and have fun and learn some. Thank you.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I might, while you're talking, Tom, I might keep the microphone to you and jump into AIML with. I think you got Beishan with you as a guest today.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Thank you. All right.
Hello, Tom.
Hi, Hey, Bertrand, see you again.
Yeah, good to see you again. How are you? Hi, I'm good. I'm very good. Actually, I'm in Melbourne right now. I'm having the suffering from the weather at the moment.
Oh, okay.
I'm jealous of the Golden Coast guy. Yeah.
Okay. Any plan to move to Sydney coming soon?
Definitely not. Sydney possibly too expensive to me. And I want to live under the budget.
Okay. It's okay if you enjoy that. Okay, no problem. Let's move on. And as usual, I would like to have you to do a very quick intro, and then we may jump in straight to our topic today. Yeah.
Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So maybe I'll just do a very quick intro about you. You are our generative AI specialist. And today's section, we're going to talk a little bit on our new services also. Bertrand, maybe I will ask you a quick question, which the question I always thinking about is like, it's about, what do you think is kind of an ultimate challenge of generative AI nowadays? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. Actually, this field is moving pretty fast. So every day you have to absorb the new knowledge or new information. Actually, we talked about that last time. Every night you surf on the social media, there is a tsunami of information. New technology is being launched and released. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be confusing. So what we mentioned about challenge nowadays could be solved by the new technology or new services. Just reflect on the past few maybe a few months, half a year of time. There are several challenges that are observed from our customers. First one is mainly how to efficiently or easily working with model, especially the generative AI model that can give you a good output quality. So that this model are really intelligent. There are other challenges in terms of the security and the compliance. So when you're working with the building applications using this model and technology, you want to make sure your application, your data is secure, your users' data is secure, and your application and compliance with the necessary regulations. There are others as well. For instance, the traditional DevOps and the large language model ops overhead. You may have to manage the model upgrading iterations, accelerator optimizations, either on GPU or other chips. Sometimes you may also have to manage the fine tuning of these models. This model can be extremely large, and it can be there are also many different technology, different choices for you to make the decision on. Some customers found that it's quite challenging to navigate through. Yeah, so I would say that's three main challenges.
Okay, thank you for that. I hear a very interesting one. You're talking about fine tuning. Would you elaborate a little bit more to help our customer understand what is that?
Yeah,
for large language model or foundation models.
Sure. As we know, the foundation model has been pre-trained on large-scale data sets that is either open sourced. For instance, you can think of the Wikipedia or other data sourced from the academia. But this data set may be different from your business. In your business or your use case, maybe you have your proprietary data that is not available in the public. In that sense, model, especially this powerful foundation model, may not understand your business yet. For instance, Tom, the way you chat with your family will be very different from, for instance, when I chat to my family. If a foundation model is pre-trained on my conversation with my family, it may not be useful for you to use when you talk to your partner, for instance. She may get upset with the style.
No, okay.
So in that sense, you may want to fine tune the model with your own data.
Okay, so that sounds like you kind of having your own potentially the data set, and you want the foundation model potentially learn the insights from that, so that later on they can be used directly. After fine tuning. Yeah, thank you. That's
Exactly.
useful. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Yeah, thank you for that. And for those kind of services nowadays, what do you see that like customer potentially may tackle them? Because I believe that like what you just mentioned, they are not necessarily customers' core values. Like for example, learning how to do fine tuning and do it in the best manner may not necessarily their core value, or training or like learning how to host foundation models may not necessarily to be their core value also. So how do you see our customer tackle those challenges?
Yeah, so our customer really looking out to us to provide them the options and the flexibilities. Some customer, maybe they are more tech savvy. They want to try out. Maybe they can train their own foundation models. We do have customers doing that. All these cutting edge big names you heard from the market, they're also working with us, especially on SageMaker. We have technology to help that. Customer also maybe in other spectrum on the end, maybe asking for more managed services, so that they don't have to, as you mentioned, overcome the technical knowledge barrier to learn about the details. They just want to grab and build. And we also have the services from their end. It not necessarily means one is absolutely always better than another. It really depends on the customer situation and their preference. But the important thing is we have a diverse enough toolkits and services that can fulfill different customers' needs. I think that's pretty important from our side.
Okay. This sounds like the main topic we're going to cover today can be a great one to tackle those kind of problem, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So,
exactly.
well, would you mind to share the like what's the service name and
yeah,
let me
sure.
jump straight.
Absolutely. So today let's talk about the Amazon Bedrock, which has been launched, I think, last week, become generally available. Remind me, comment, I corrected that last week or some other dates. Currently, lots of sense of time. I don't know about you. So many things happening at the same time. Here I'm logging into my AWS console, and from the searching bar of services, I can search for the Bedrock. So after you log into that, you will have a different information to go through, like the overview, what the Bedrock is, and its benefits. We can dive a little deep into that, but basically, Bedrock provide an API for you to call, super simple, on the foundation models of your service. We also provide an array of the top-notch foundation models for you to work with.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I thanks for updating that. I'm kind of impressed on like what you just said. And when you say the top-notch leading foundation models, and would you elaborate a bit, like talk a little bit on them and help our audience understand like why they matter?
Yeah, absolutely. So if every time you log into the AWS console and if you see an orange button, definitely click them. So there will be more information about it. So the first one is the foundation models. Bedrock support foundation model from industry leading providers, including Anthropic, Amazon, our own first-party models, Cohere, AI 21 Lab, and Stability AI. They all working for different use cases. For instance, Stability AI is the cutting-edge foundation model provider to generate images from the text. Tom, we can do some experiments later. So which one you like?
Sounds good.
Anthropic is also another market-leading foundation model provider. I don't know if you heard about the model name Claude version 2. It's definitely a game changer in terms of the context lens. There's more information about AI 21 Lab and Cohere, which you can definitely explore from the left side of the tabs.
Yeah. Cool. I also want to call out that like we kind of understand that like no one foundation model potentially may fit all use cases. So with the variety on offering, potential customer have great flexibility on choosing experiment and find out the best for them, right, on their use cases. Cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, like, understand that these services just recently being announced GA, general available now. And I want to understand, like, if customer want to try and start learning, like, how to leverage this service, where they should start it.
Yeah, my personal advice is always start from the examples and explore what kind of example that is available. Then pick one that is the most relevant to their use case or business, then start from there. For instance, from the example that we have at the moment, we have 18 different working templates for you to search from. For instance, you can generate action items from meeting transcripts. You can summarize articles. You can generate different things. And also you can generate images. We also have the notebook examples from our super popular repository of the Bedrock workshop. Feel free to start and fork this repository and work from there. We definitely have a very organized and diverse and very rich content there. So that's my suggestion. I don't know, Tom, you want to try out some of the examples here?
Yeah, definitely. And we certainly, by the way, we certainly would like to share the Bedrock workshop GitHub link in the channel. And if anyone's kind of having time and want to try that later on, feel free. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the link. Okay. I'm super interested in like generate content, in generating content, and especially like English is my second language, and sometimes I find hard regarding how to express myself. So do we have something like that we can generate, like email or generate a memo?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Article or promo?
We can look at that. I know Tom, you recently got promoted, congratulations, by the way. But
thank you.
I don't know if you I don't know if you used this one to try to convince your manager to
that's definitely not.
Definitely not. So we can start from there and open the playground here.
So
and here's the
so what did
template.
Okay, what does this one do? Like we just use an example like to write a promote. Is a promotion doc, right? Is it?
Yeah. So this one is writing a promotion doc. In your prompt, you can specify the individual the situation. Then you give the model instruction how to leverage this information and to do that. But today, let's do something different. As you are already promoted, let's do something different. Let's do a chat. Maybe we want to get you a pay rise from your manager.
Pay rise?
Let's do that. Are you interested?
Okay. I don't mind to ask
Uh,
for more pay rise though. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let's do that. Let's get a model to do that for you. Here you can see I select the chat from the playground. Then I can just, choose whichever model I like. I can also update the inference configurations. I may want the outputs a bit longer. Takes the
what does this mean? Like the maximum length?
Yeah, so
is it
this
the generated content?
Yeah, exactly. How long the generated content you allow the foundation model to do? Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Here, let's do
Let's
that.
give it a go. All right.
And email to Tom, use manager.
Okay. Hopefully, my manager is watching our live stream today.
Sure, absolutely. Let's send out the email.
And I don't need to send out the email.
Generative AI over the past year. All right, I will hit the run.
Okay.
Yeah, here as you can see, the model starts working for you.
Okay.
The model writing recommends Tom for salary increase for your exceptional work on generative projects. You have an invaluable member of the generative team. In addition to your technical contributions, you also mentor many junior employees. That is true. For the past year, you also demonstrated your ability to handle highly complicated work. Yeah, that's definitely demonstrated in your customer engagement. And closely, I highly recommend give you an increase. I don't know
Okay,
how
so
busy your manager is. Maybe this one a little bit too lengthy. Maybe we want to make it a little bit concise.
yeah, let's try to make it concise. Yeah.
Okay. Let's carry on. Make it more concise into maybe 3 paragraphs.
Yeah.
So your manager can read this on his way to the airport.
Okay. See how it goes. Very considerate.
Yeah. So except the first paragraph is greetings, many greetings. So overall, there are sorry, last paragraph is more formal, be polite. In total, there are roughly 3 paragraphs and more concise and calm.
Yeah.
System. Cool.
I understand that now we refer to example, and now we are under the playground and the chat, and looks like it's take it as a conversation, and you can refer to the conversation history. Am I correct?
Yeah, exactly. For instance, here I say make it more concise. The model should understand 8 means the previous email contents. So the model should be able to pick it up intelligently. So that's super important for the chatbot use case.
Good. Yeah, and other than that, I find that the writing, the output is quite a good reference in the sense that it's not just blah blah blah. It also provides some sort of template like a data point to illustrate what the individual contribution looks like and making it more convincing. Yeah. So this one is definitely good.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a way to help us to reflect on our work. So make sure in our daily job we reflect on these data points.
Gotcha.
Cool. Do you want to? Yeah.
Great. Just a quick question. On top of that, like, are there any parameters customer may want to consider when they're tuning? You just show the maximum length, and anything else can be important.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. Actually, this one is being made pretty concise and convenient by Bedrock. For instance, there's not many parameters to tune. First one is the temperature. We talked about this last time. Actually, this controls how creative you want the model to be. The higher temperature, the more creative the model is. Top P and top K is the same. Yeah, to sample from the dictionary of the English or any supported languages. So the larger the value is, more creative the model can be. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So this, thank you for that. And what about like we just do another quick demo for a image one, just to illustrate quickly. How does that sound?
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. Do you have any images in mind?
Okay. I don't really have, but I remember once we played some text to image models with Jumpstart. So maybe I can use some prompt we used before, which is like like a teddy bear, a baby teddy bear wearing nappy.
Yeah, that's a good try.
Wears nappy.
Let's
see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Give it a try. Funny thing is, I had to change my boy's nappy, and
okay.
Okay.
Right,
cool.
This one doesn't really show the nappy.
Yeah, it's okay. We can try another random state.
Okay. So the random seed is pretty much like a randomization of the image generation process.
Yeah, exactly. So the way Stable Diffusion works is it takes the multiple steps to remove the random noises so that the output final image is more consistent with your text prompt. So these random steps can be controlled by the random seeds. So if you want to have a deterministic output, the random seed can make you reproduce your results. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have. Thank you for generating an interesting picture here. And I have a question from the chat. So what's the difference between Bedrock and SageMaker Jumpstart?
Yeah, SageMaker Jumpstart is a machine learning model hub where we also have the playground for you to try out the important foundation models. On the SageMaker Jumpstart, you have the option to deploy the models into your own AWS accounts under SageMaker endpoints, where you own your data and the data never left your own account. In that sense, you manage the SageMaker endpoint infrastructure. So that is how SageMaker Jumpstart works. Bedrock, you do not have to worry about the deployment infrastructures. Here, you only consume the API. So it's a little bit more convenient for you if you don't want to do that. We see a lot of customers prefer the flexibility working with SageMaker. As I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, different customer may want differences. We have the most comprehensive services to fulfill different needs. SageMaker Jumpstart is also a very important generative AI offer from AWS right now.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for that. And I also want to call out because I quite focus on those two, like the SageMaker areas as well. And I want to call out that potentially with SageMaker, with Jumpstart or the inferencing endpoint, you can do the like the networking control regarding on the security access, whether you want to route the traffic outside of internet or not. Like you can manage that. And I understand Backdrop also provides similar functions, like provide VPC interface endpoint for networking control. Oh yeah, could you talk, like share a little bit on that?
Yeah, so right now, from the Bedrock, we have different measures to ensure your data security. If you prefer your data never leave the Amazon's network, then you can definitely use the private link to call the Bedrock API from the VPC, from your application, of course. To do that, you have the VPC endpoint from Bedrock, which is already available. From your own on-premise network, we also have the direct connect, so you can connect your local network directly to the Amazon network. So your data will never get a traffic on the public internet. We have some customers have the needs on that, and again, we have the technology to fulfill that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super great. Like if you are like working for a highly regulated organization, we certainly can suit your needs on networking control and data security. Thanks for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Bytron, really appreciate your time on sharing the insights and also walk through and doing a bit of demo on Amazon Backdrops. Any final tips you want to share with our customer? Like if they want to learn the service today, like where should they start with, and like where they can get the support or so?
Yeah. For first question, definitely log into the AWS console, navigate to the Bedrock by in the searching bar, search for Bedrock. Once you go there, click the orange button, get started, then start to explore. First one is the examples to get yourself familiar with that. Also check out our repository. We will share the link later in the chat box. Then go to the playground, just try out different model, different options. I think that's definitely a good place to get started. In terms of getting more support, definitely reach out to your account team, account manager, and your account SA. They are always ready to help you on your journey on the generative AI.
Oh, that's super awesome. Super excited. And dear customer and audience today, like feel free to reach out to us if you need any help and further support. And thanks all for your time, Bytron, and look forward to seeing you in our next time section.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you. And now, without further ado, I want to welcome Simon on the stage, and I'll close the AI section today. Simon.
Thanks, Tom.
Over to you then.
Thank you, Tom. I might actually bring in Matt as well.
Hey, Simon. I think I might need that letter that Tom and Beishan were drafting as well too. If we could probably paste that into chat, that would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. It writes way better than what I can write. And I definitely need to write that letter to Adrian.
Have you had a chance to play with Bedrock much? I'm starting my journey like many others, and it's pretty impressive to see it used. It's so effortlessly. Really, it's just part of the console. It's ready to consume from our customers.
Yeah, so I mean, I've tried to play with it a little bit, but not within the full application. So I'm just kind of trying it out on the GUI as well in the console. Like I think what Baijan and Tom mentioned about the difference between Jumpstart and Bedrock, that's really important because it's so easy for me to just kind of call an API endpoint without having to worry about any infrastructure and then just kind of start using Bedrock.
Yeah, that's right. We've got security. What releases do you have in mind for us this month?
Yeah, so I've got 3, and Meyer, if you can have my screen. So we've actually got a few security releases over the past few months that I don't think we've talked about. So it's not just within the context of this month. The first one I want to bring over is regarding Amazon CloudFront. And there's a lot of questions from our customers about CloudFront now because of the recent attack, the HTTP2 rapid reset attack. And so, one of the things that you can do to protect your web application, obviously, is to put it behind CDN, and CloudFront is the CDN for AWS. But in terms of the security, as a security tool, we tend to use CloudFront with AWS WAF as well. And one of the things that we've brought out very recently is to have what we call one-click deployment for AWS WAF on a CloudFront distribution. And so, and this is what it will look like if I go into my distribution. If I go into here, and you can see there's a new section here called security, web application firewall. And so it used to be that you actually have to deploy the distribution, go to WAF, set up a WAF, and then link it back to your CloudFront distribution. But with this new feature, you can actually do it in the CloudFront console as well, or with your APIs. And so you can see here, this distribution has not enabled security protection. And so I can just click here and have that enabled. And I can choose to use monitor mode as well when I enabled it.
What's the monitor mode? What's that one for people who haven't played with AWS WAF recently?
So with AWS WAF, you have different choices of actions. So you can when it matches a certain WAF rules, you can choose to block that request. You can choose to send it over to a challenge, or you can put that in count mode. And monitor mode just means that all of the rule set will be overruled to account mode. So you kind of monitor that traffic and minimize that false positive. And then once you're sure that those WAF rules works for you, you can put that back into the action that you decide. Gotcha. So here I'll just save that, and it has estimated cost as well. It's $14 or 10 million requests. I got barely 100 for this particular distribution, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. So save that change, and you can see.
And the call out here is that you're still within CloudFront's console.
That's correct.
And you're still making that's right.
So you don't have to jump around, and then you just kind of figure out where to find this distribution in WAF. Mm-hmm. So while I was deploying, I'll go to the WAF console, and then I'll look into my web ACL. So CloudFront, it's under global here in web ACL, and you can see this WAF rule has just been created by CloudFront. So it's already here. And clicking into this rule, you can see there's probably no request here because I've just created it. But if I go into the rules here, you can see that all actions are overruled to count because I've put that WAF rule into a monitoring
mode. That's right.
Monitoring mode. And so these are the common rule sets that we've put in. Just for start, so known bad inputs, common rule sets, reputation, IP reputation list. But I can also, and this is also new, there's also recommendation for me to add more rules according to the traffic on my distribution. So if it's a WordPress site, for example, it would recommend for common WordPress vulnerability rules. For this particular one, it's a login page, so there is rules for me to put in takeover prevention and fraud prevention here. So I can add those into my root groups as well.
Very good. Is there much you can't, going back into the CloudFront console, is it now that you've enabled it and turned that on, is there any more configuration you can do from CloudFront's perspective? Or do you kind of, is that it from the integration standpoint?
So within the, so let me just, so it's actually quite minimal in the CloudFront console. So pretty much you enable that WAF, and then the additional, the additional settings is still done at the WAF console.
Got it. So you get it turned on from CloudFront, and then if you do make any customizations, you go back into WAF and start customizing it for the specific rules. Yeah.
And Matt, one other thing is that, when you go into CloudFront right now, you can actually see that protection is enabled. So this is actually quite useful because
100%.
If you have 100 different distributions, you have to go into and try and match that to your route rules. And so now you can basically go into here and just kind of look or in your CRI, just kind of list out of your distribution and look whether you have WAF enabled for these distributions. So this is also very useful from a visibility point of view.
Yeah, definitely. I remember years ago writing scripts to basically figure out whether a CloudFront distribution had WAF turned on for it, because it doesn't. Yeah, it's not quite as easy to see, but to see it right in the console is perfect. It gives you that starting point of assurance. That's right.
Yep. All right. So that's the first one. The second one I want to talk about Macie. So Macie's been around for a while. I don't think we've actually ever showed this on the stream. So I thought I'd just go into here, and if I go back to the homepage. So what Macie does, it is that it looks into your S3 buckets and look at the objects that are stored. Make sure that you're not storing anything sensitive in plain text or not encrypt or having it publicly available. So what we've had here, and you can see from the top, is that we've actually continuously adding more types of data that Macie can report on. And so recently we've added the ability to detect Google Cloud API keys, Stripe API keys, and some driver's license and identity numbers that are stored in Macie specifically for India, and we're continuously adding support for more countries and more formats like that. But I just thought I quickly look into some of the things that I can show in Macie. So for example, if I go into findings, you can see, actually, let me go into jobs. So here you can see I've actually ran a few jobs here. It takes too long, so I wouldn't run it live on the stream. But you can see that, we're looking at, sorry, let me create a new job actually. So if I create a new job, you can see what type of things that you can specify. The first one is the S3 buckets that you want to look at. In this case, I'll look into this one, Macie data.
And for anyone who hasn't touched Macie, it's one of my favorite services just based on how simple it is and how quickly it identifies sensitive data. But I'm very much doing it an injustice here, but it'll go through all your data, all your S3 buckets, and it'll look for anything that may be sensitive. Credit cards, driver's license numbers, whatever you want to look for, you set up these jobs and it goes in there and looks for it. And if it detects something, it goes ahead and creates a bit of a process to remediate and respond to it as well.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like about Macie is actually here. It's the frequency. So you don't actually have to run jobs manually. You can have it run daily, just to look at whether the new data that you've put into a particular public bucket, for example, isn't something that's misplaced. And also you can look at the sampling depth as well, which help on the cost point of view. But I'm not actually running a job here. I'm just showing what type of things that you can do. So some of the things that Macy can look at, and this is from the recommended portion of it. You can look at, we've got Australian text file numbers, we've got AWS credentials, driver license numbers, credit card numbers, things like that. But you can actually go into custom, and we now support 108 data identifier, and that's much expanded from what we had from the start. One of the really cool things that you can do also is to add custom data identifiers. So what that is things that aren't in Macy yet or aren't considered sensitive. In Macy, you can actually have an expression to say, for me, for my company, this is actually very important. So here I have a patent ID, custom identifier. And if I look into the custom identifier here, I can actually see what it is about. So this is expression that says, any company with 8 characters at the end with these type of keywords, the length, the match distance between these keywords and the expression is 50, and the severity is considered medium. So what I can do is to show a file that I've put in. So is this too small? Can I zoom in? Okay. So this is actually a file that I have put into the S3 bucket, and it says this is classified information with patent ID, any company, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do not share this with other employees. And if I go into the findings, I can see that there is a medium severity on this custom identifier. And I click on it, I can go into some of the details, and you can see this was found 2 days ago on this particular Macy job. It was in plain text in this particular location, and it was a match for this custom identifier. So I think this is pretty powerful. What else can we look at? If I look into this one, this is employee, and we can see that there is a match for, there's a match for sensitive data here, and it's personal information for names. So if I put that up here, you can see there is actually names of these employee in plain text. So that's the second one. I think this is something that our customers should really take a look at and play around with. I think this is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite use cases for Macy that I've seen that I was very surprised at initially was a customer using it to verify that they had a requirement that production data never went into non-production environments. So there was just a hard firewall there, and they were using Macy to validate that that didn't occur and be able to actually demonstrate that the data wasn't and inadvertently being replicated by a database or copied over via some job somewhere. And I thought that was pretty cool. So you're kind of taking the same mechanics of sensitive data and applying it in a slightly different way.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can see.
I just found that
sorry, Simon, to interrupt you. Yeah, I can see a question in the chat. Maybe we can just jump back a few steps to CloudFront and WAF if you're happy to take questions without notice. But yeah, someone's just asked, can you use one WAF for multiple CloudFront distributions, or is it a one-for-one mapping?
Oh, I actually can't remember this one. Matt, do you have any idea? Otherwise, we'll have to get in a little bit.
I'll say what I've done in the past, and I've always done a one-for-one mapping between CloudFront to WAF. And the reason for that is obviously you want to be able to have some configurability and some flexibility as well, because not all CloudFront distributions are effectively going to follow the same rule sets. So that's always been my starting point.
That has been as well. So you can actually map multiple origins to a single CloudFront distribution. So that you can do.
That's right.
But I haven't actually tried, using multiple WAF rules. Well, you can replicate those WAF rules to a different CloudFront distribution. That's not a problem.
That's right. Yeah.
but I'm not sure if you can use multiple distribution on the same WAF. I might have to do some research, and before the end of the stream, I'll definitely get back to you.
Got it. And
all right, so
yeah, sorry, there's one follow-up question. It's a great question too. It may impact pricing. So yes, if you are obviously mapping one-to-one CloudFront to WAF, and if you do have an opportunity where you might not need that, you've got very similar workloads with very similar security requirements. There may be an impact to pricing there.
That's right. All right, so let me move on to the last one. And the last one is on SNS. So on a similar vein to the Macy release or the Macy use case, SNS now support data protection by de-identifying outbound messages through redaction and masking. And so what that means is that, if I go into some of the topics that I have, what that means is in your SNS topics, you actually have now something called data protection policy. And so here, and I think if I edit it, you can have it. So you can actually see it here. Data policy is optional; you don't have to use it, but it's definitely something that might be useful. So we can actually look at any type of identifier that you like to use. And here, we have things pretty similar to what we have in Macy, address, bank account numbers, credit card numbers. And here I've used email address, and you can choose to redact and mask it in your messages. And so, we'd like to talk about security as layers. At the storage layer, we have Macy that looks into your S3 buckets. But in your application and your transport layers, we're looking at your messages in SNS to make sure you're not actually inadvertently publishing messages that are that contain information that you don't want to contain. And so once you have that here, I can actually do a test here. What I have here is actually an email topic. So I can actually publish a message here and say, my email address is aws@amazon.com. All right. So let me publish this message. And then I'll show you the email message in a little bit. But what I really want to show is the flexibility of this as well. So when I was looking into this, you can actually see that there are actually multiple rules that you can use. Oops, sorry, multiple rules that you can use in the policy. So you can deny any messages that has a particular match to the sensitive data that you want to filter out. You can use a mask, which is basically just to show you that there is something there, or a redact, which means it removes it completely. So that email messages has just arrived, and you can see here I've got an email message that says my email messages, and this is masked. So I think that's also a pretty good release. Definitely something you don't have to use it for email topics. You can use it for any type of topics. One caveat is that it has to be a standard queue. It can't be a first in first out queue, and that's it.
Interesting. Yeah, I love that example because I can think of so many use cases where a workload may want to receive a credit card to do some processing of payments, but then when it comes to storing the transaction of the credit card, or maybe even providing a notification to a customer or an email, it's masked right at the start when it's no longer needed as a payment transaction anymore. And you don't risk, you don't have to worry about that 16-digit credit card just being passed through all of your different systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to we want to use data effectively, right? It's difficult to have custom rule set and to just kind of finding different information. If it's all baked into the service, and you're basically not paying anything extra of using this, this is I think a great feature for our developers.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love it. I think that's it for security. It's definitely not it for security. There's always more we can talk about, but I think that might be time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Simon.
No problem. Thank you, Matt, for joining me.
Oh, no worries at all. I might invite Rahul to join us, and we're going to jump into compute and databases.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Rahul. How you doing?
Not too bad. Good to be back.
Very good to have you back. I can see some really, really interesting releases here, including a brand new service that we've launched. So I want to get stuck right in. Data Zone, Amazon Data Zone. What can you share with us on the launch of this new service?
Yeah, as you said, it's a new service which is generally available now, and this is a data management service that makes it faster and easier for customers to catalog, discover, share, or even govern data, not only across AWS but also on-premise and third-party sources. Which is, I find this service is very interesting because now all the data administrators and data stewards who oversees all the data assets, they can actually manage and govern data using all the fine-grained controls. So pretty excited to see this service in all the use cases now.
Yeah, definitely. I think I speak from experience here, but data governance has always been a bit of a challenge in not just large enterprise, but across the board. Getting an understanding on where is it created, what value does it have, who owns it, who controls it, who reads it, who subscribes to it, who uses it. That's all a very, very complex problem. And maybe I'm answering this question myself, but what was the underlying or the fundamental customer problem that Data Zone was looking to solve?
Pretty much the ones which you just started talking, because
Gotcha.
because data is so critical to decision making. But the fact is that data resides at many different sources, and that's why the challenges and difficulties finding data sources. Sometimes you don't even know what data is available within org, or even if you find the data, maybe you don't have access to that, or if you get an access to that, these are you are considering which tools to be used. Maybe taxonomies are different. So there are quite a few things in data governance which Data Zone is trying to solve.
Yep. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be honest, I haven't played with it just yet. I'm really looking forward to playing with it and seeing what our customers end up doing with it.
Absolutely.
Next one, I can see incremental export to S3 for Amazon DynamoDB.
That's right. And this has been like, a long discussed feature with our customers. And these features actually allow you to export only the data that's changed within specific time interval. And with increment exports, you can now export data which is inserted, updated, or deleted in small increment. That means that now you can set up your change data capture pipelines to regularly update data downstream in data lakes or analytics target without doing the full export each time. That means it is more efficient and most cost effective.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be honest, my brain kind of goes to, when I think incremental export, I kind of think backups. That's my first, incremental daily backups is probably the first thing. But that's probably not the only use case here, right, for incremental exporting from DynamoDB to S3. What are some others that come to mind for you?
Yeah, typically you would use to pass this data so that you can reshape and send it to your favorite data analytics tool like Athena, SageMaker, Lake Formation, or even Redshift.
Yeah, okay. So put backup as a use case completely aside. Your data tools need to, capture the latest change data set that's come in from DynamoDB. And with this new feature, they'll be able to consume only the delta changes for what's been configured as the incremental. Interesting.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. While we're talking DB, jumping from DynamoDB over to DocumentDB, which is our MongoDB's compatible service. I can see that now supports major version upgrades.
You're absolutely right. And now it supports a major version upgrade from 3.6 and 4.0 to 5.0, which means that instead of backing up, restoring the databases to a new version, and then relying on the migration tools, you can actually now perform an in-place major version update just with a few clicks in AWS console. So that means that, go to the console, go for an upgrade, click on modify, and that means that a corresponding cluster, what you want to upgrade, that will be done. So pretty
How does
handy
that?
feature.
Yeah, that's super handy. How do you schedule it? What does that actually look like from an end user perspective?
Look, from an end user perspective, yeah, of course, there are certain prerequisites, but yeah, you can either upgrade immediately or you can also schedule it for your next maintenance window. So, pretty
Yeah.
handy thing in case you plan to do this with some of the change management controls.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I must also kind of call out that over the past few months, you and I have spoken about a few major version upgrades to lots of different services. So yeah, things such as RDS as well, MySQL, Aurora DB, etc. I think anything we can reduce from a friction standpoint to get our customers on the latest supported version is only going to come with not just the feature enhancements, but obviously the security improvements that come with that as well.
And you're right, and this also takes a lot of operational overhead away from the customer, so it makes it easy for them to do this.
Yeah, that's right. That undifferentiated heavy lifting, right? Like if we can just click a button, go from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5, that's exactly what we need in our busy IT environments these days.
So true. So
Yeah.
what's new for compute?
There's a few things. It was hard to kind of pick the ones that I wanted to talk about. There was lots of really fun stuff. I'll jump into Compute Optimizer initially. So Compute Optimizer now, we've added 153 additional instance types into Compute Optimizer. So some of the recent ones that we've spoken about over the last few months, things like M7 Gravitons, M7Is, M6As, and C7s, etc. So just there's a whole, any recent, I shouldn't say any, but many of the recent instances that we've released have been added now to Compute Optimizer. But the other one too that I wanted to call out that was pretty cool when I read it was Compute Optimizer now supports EBS volumes that are attached simultaneously to multiple different EC2 instances. So now you can get that view that, okay, we've got a database cluster. That database cluster is using shared storage. And now that shared storage is actually sitting across those 2 or 3 or 4 nodes that have been configured. So it just gives you that deeper insights into what's happening from a storage layer on some of your large, potentially production database type instances.
That is interesting. So it looks like Compute Optimizer is going to help customers save some more money looking at all the features. Interesting.
Yeah, if you haven't or don't use Compute Optimizer every week, every month to just really give that deeper inspection around, are we using the right sized instances for our workload? Are we using the cheapest instance? Can we either size down or move to a different architecture? Compute Optimizer is going to give you all those answers. So I definitely recommend have a look at it. Try to bake it into your operational environment because there's some very large cost optimization improvements that you can see from it as well. And the other last thing I'd call out on Compute Optimizer is that the insights that it comes up with are very actionable, right? It's not just change a million things. It's, hey, you change this instance from this to that, and you're going to save this amount of money. So it's very practical advice as well.
Nice, yeah. Okay.
I try not to pick favorites, but the next one kind of is my favorite. So for at least for this month, but we've now got an ability in our Spot fleet to directly simulate interruptions within the EC2 console. We've had it for a little bit. We had it with AWS Fault Injection Simulator. So in 2022, we released Fizz, which was able to go in and terminate a single instance. But what's changed with this new release is now you can go ahead and do that for a randomly selected set of instances. And you can do that by targeting your Spot fleet as well. Which I absolutely love. I'm a big fan of Spot workloads, and now the ability to be able to test, to verify as well the failure pattern that's occurring while you're using and utilizing Spot workloads, I think is super helpful.
Yeah, seems like a pretty cool new feature. But for our viewers, Matt, can you recap what is Spot instance and where it is used?
I can. I'll have to time box myself here because I could talk about it for days. But ultimately, Spot is where you're taking advantage of any of the unused EC2 capacity in AWS. With that, you're looking at discounts of up to 90% from on demand in relation to how much you pay to use that workload. Only caveat is in relation to that those instances could be interrupted at any point by the EC2 service team. So ultimately what that means is you just have to be a little bit smart, a little bit aware of your workload in relation to what is the best way to utilize such a volatile compute architecture type. So a few ways you might use it. You might use it for things where you've got a workload that has lots of different worker nodes. So if you have an ability to have a queue and then worker nodes can pull from that queue and go and do jobs or tasks, that leads itself very, very well to something like Spot. Obviously high performance compute, and as well any animation or rendering farms as well. The ability to say, hey, look, if there is unused capacity and that capacity is under a certain price, we're willing to scale out our infrastructure in that moment to reduce the time it takes for a job to complete, to basically bring down your time to market in that instance.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. That was super handy.
Last but not least is I can see that EC2 now has released support to block public access for Amazon machine instance images, and they've released that on the account level. So this one's pretty cool because from my point of view, it's got all three S's, right? It's secure, it's very, very simple, and it's scalable as well. So in the past, to do a bit of a recap, Rahul, and I'm sure you know all about this, but you had to go in there and ultimately change your change each AMI to make sure that it's, you're blocking public access. Typically what we found is many people wrote scripts and just provided a manual or automated scripted review just to make sure that their AMIs weren't inadvertently or accidentally published publicly. But now with this new feature, super simple, super easy, go in there and at the account level, you can block all public access for AMIs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but Matt, can we use it for existing AMIs as well, or is it only for the new ones what we create?
Yeah, 100%. So customers with existing public AMIs can also enable it as well within their AWS accounts to restrict any of the private AMIs that they do have. So it's very much works with both examples.
That's nice. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. That's it for this month. Thank you so much, Rahul, for joining me. Simon, if you're there, feel free to jump on. But I think that it closes us off for this month. I'm really excited. Have a good weekend, gents, and we'll see you on the next stream.
See y'all. Thank you for